Slumberland Furniture.
Mercy Hospital takes additional steps to protect its employees and patients from COVID-19 as the federal government prepares to dispatch aid to the region. Plus, regional health departments adjust their contact tracing tactics. And a police chase ends with the arrest of a burglary suspect in southwest Missouri.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The U.S. government is deploying a COVID-19 surge team to southwest Missouri. This is KOAM News at 10. The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services says the first member of the team arrived in Springfield today. Over the past week, the COVID-19 caseload in Missouri was second highest in the country. There were 15.5 new cases per 100,000 people daily. CDC data shows about 56% of adults in Missouri have received at least one COVID-19 vaccine dose, and 39.4% of residents are fully vaccinated. The surge team will include an epidemiologist, research assistants, a health communications specialist, contact tracers, and others who will help with vaccination and outreach. Mercy Hospital announced today it'll require its employees to get the COVID-19 vaccine. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with Mercy officials about the new policy and has more.
Mercy Joplin announced a new policy today that will require all Mercy employees to be vaccinated by September 30th. President Jeremy Drinkwitz says it wasn't something they decided lightly, but after seeing the impacts of COVID firsthand, felt it was what they needed to do.
We can't advocate for our community and lead if we're not leading by example. And so while there is a lot of challenges ahead of us, we feel like this is the best thing for us to do to protect our patients, which is our number one goal as we treat them going forward.
As for employees who don't want to get vaccinated, there are some options available.
Yeah, so we have a couple avenues. One, we do have some ability for some religious exemptions. There's obviously some medical exemptions that will be approved by physicians. If people just choose not to do that, there's an employment process that will be followed after that point.
The policy will apply to all Mercy locations, not just Joplin. Drinkwitz says he knows a number of people, including Mercy employees, have been getting what he says is bad information about the vaccine, leading to some not wanting to get it.
We have to push our people into the right direction to protect our patients. We're going to push them to make a decision, but we're going to give them the right information for them to learn and hopefully change their mind, because a lot of them have bad information and wrong information.
Drinkwitz says the community can help out as well.
We need our community to stand with us, but we also need them to do the right thing, which is protect themselves and get the vaccine.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
We did reach out to Freeman Health System. Officials there released a statement saying in part that they are closely monitoring the COVID-19 situation, but currently are not issuing a policy requiring COVID vaccinations for Freeman employees. Now, today's KOAM News Now Insta poll question: how do you feel about hospitals mandating COVID-19 vaccines for their employees? You think it's fine, or maybe you don't like it? You can participate in the poll at koamnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. The results are updated live, and we're going to check in on the final numbers here a little bit later in this newscast. Local health departments are ramping up contact tracing as the Delta variant continues to spread through our region. In Jasper County, the health department is adding 5 more contact tracers. The health director, Tony Moore, says the contact tracers they did have left after cases dropped a few months ago. The department is also adjusting to changes in contact tracing since the CDC says vaccinated people do not have to quarantine. Health workers will ask those people to monitor for symptoms and get tested if symptoms do show up.
Their onset of symptoms may be runny nose or a sore throat or something like that, but it progresses from there. We also seem to be seeing more gastrointestinal type illness associated with this. It seems like it's a little more frequent now than what we were seeing in the past.
He says loss of taste and smell is a less frequent symptom now. Many local health departments can also verify if someone has been fully vaccinated. Both Missouri and Kansas keep records of who's been vaccinated, which can be accessed by local health departments. Checking in with Doug Eddy. First look at the weather. Doug.
Hey, Dow, we had some scattered showers and thunderstorms out there earlier today through the afternoon into the evening hours. Still a couple across the region, but it is quieting down just a bit. Almost 90 today, 66, right where we should be for the first week of July. You can see these showers, these thunderstorms, which really working through over the past couple hours. Again, very scattered, hit and miss, but flaring up a little bit across Barton County. So we are still going to have some isolated thunderstorms over the next few hours, and then things will pretty much wrap up, at least from this weak little wave. Temperatures are going to drop back into the upper 60s. A little bit later on tonight, we'll get any of those scattered showers and thunderstorms out of here. Temps right now, upper 70s, mid to upper 70s to near 80 degrees, so it's still fairly warm. Eventually, we're going to drop back to about 66 later on tonight. 87 tomorrow. The humidity is going to be down at least a bit, which is also good news. Of course, we're going to look toward the weekend here in just a bit.
Catch it in. The McDonald County, Missouri Sheriff's Office says they've arrested this man in connection with a series of burglaries north of Southwest City, Missouri. He's 31-year-old Earl Schreiber from Grove, Oklahoma. Authorities say he was arrested after a chase that ended near Knoll, Missouri. Sheriff's Office says at about the same time as his arrest, Delaware County Sheriff's officers conducted a search at his home where they recovered stolen property from Missouri. Schreiber is charged with second-degree burglary. Still ahead, health experts express concern over a growing number of young adults who don't want to get a COVID-19 vaccination. And a new study reveals the long-term effects of COVID-19 on some patients' heart rates and sleep patterns. There seems to be growing vaccine hesitancy among young adults as the Delta variant of the COVID-19 virus continues to spread all across the U.S. New data shows that many of the same groups that have been most affected by the virus are also the ones with the lowest vaccination rates in the country. All this as President Biden launches a renewed push to get more people vaccinated. Mary Maloney has a closer look.
Vaccinations among young adults have been lower and increasingly more slow compared to other age groups. That's according to a recently published CDC report worrying health experts.
Even individuals with mild illness could have long-lasting symptoms. There are people who have lost their hair, people who continue to have loss of the sense of taste or smell.
The CDC report found the weekly rate of newly vaccinated adults 18 to 29 years old slowed to 2% from 3.6% between April 19th and May 22nd. President Biden urging them to get the shot, citing the Delta variant's alarming rate of spread and saying Americans dying of COVID-19 are overwhelmingly unvaccinated.
It should cause reconsideration, especially in young people.
People who died of COVID-19 in May were younger and more disproportionately Black than those who died of the virus throughout the pandemic. That's based on an analysis of data from the CDC, which also reveals less than 9% of Black people are fully vaccinated. Yet some people, like 21-year-old Destiny Britt, say they're skeptical.
I just need to make sure that it's been around for some time where I know specifically what the side effects are.
She says her hesitation is caused in part by the legacy of the Tuskegee syphilis study and concerns about the vaccine's potential rare side effects.
How do I know that that small percentage won't be me?
For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
The White House is partnering with organizations and private companies to incentivize adults under age 30 to get vaccinated. A new study shows changes to resting heart rate and sleep may last for months in people who've been infected with COVID. Researchers used wearable biometric trackers like a Fitbit to look at almost 900 people. Among the 234 participants who tested positive for COVID-19, elevated resting heart rates did not return to normal until some 80 days after the onset of symptoms. In 13% of the COVID-positive patients, elevated heart rates persisted for more than 4.5 months. The disease also appears to impact sleep duration. COVID-positive patients slept longer for about a month after symptoms started. Later, we're going to tell you how Pittsburgh Wrestling is trying to encourage kids to get on the mat.
Plus, we're going to get a few more scattered thunderstorms for us tonight, and then we'll look and see what happens for Thursday and Friday coming up next.
At Ashley Home Store.
Well, it turned out to be a very warm, humid day for us today. We did get some scattered showers and thunderstorms that popped up late this afternoon into the evening hours. Most of these have kind of diminished. We still got a couple across the region, but in general, it looks like it's going to be a pretty quiet night. Nice time-lapse Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. You can see those cumulus clouds pop up during the afternoon, and then looks pretty good once we've really gotten into the past couple hours, as any thunderstorms we did see have pretty much fizzled apart. It's also been very hot. It's been very humid. The humidity was up there today. Actual temperature pushing 90, but our dew points were way up there, so it made it feel so muggy, kind of soupy across the region. Mid to upper 70s now. Dew points are still up there. You can see our dew points are sitting 70 to about 75, which is approaching the top of the scale, kind of in that muggy to soupy range. But at least most of us are fairly dry. We just have a couple isolated little thunderstorms out there. 78 in Joplin, dew point 72. Humidity relative is at 81%. We still have one little guy across the region once the radar catches up. There you go, right across Barton County in southwestern parts of Missouri. But most of the clusters of storms we had earlier today, those are pretty much gone. But you can see this one little guy right across Barton County, so right on top of Lamar, kind of drifting off toward the south and to the east. So very briefly, some heavy amounts of rain, and that's about it. Some of these storms are just kind of moderate storms, very typical of this time of the year. But all these will continue to diminish over the next few hours, and then I think we're fine. We're going to be dry for about 2 days, and then we'll start to see some changes again as we head into the weekend. But if you look out toward the west, there's not a whole bunch going on, so no big storm systems moving in, at least over the next few days. Here's the remnants of Elsa, still a tropical system, but not as strong as it was yesterday and the day before as it kind of rode up the west coast of Florida, but still producing quite a bit of rain across southeastern parts of the U.S. Back here at home, any isolated storms we have out there will be gone over the next couple hours, and then we look fine for the rest of the night. We drop back into the upper 60s. We heat up again tomorrow. Just the humidity is not going to be as bad, but temperature nearly the same, but at least the humidity is lower. 66 to start, 81 by noon. High temp of 87 during the afternoon. Tomorrow night looks good. We'll stop on Friday morning. We'll have partly cloudy skies near 70. As we go into Friday afternoon, we're going to heat up all the way up into lower 90s. The humidity will also return. We'll get southerly winds. So Friday is going to be a hot day. Then our next storm system rolls in on Saturday. This is going to give us chances for showers and thunderstorms. Most likely a line that kind of drives through late in the afternoon into the evening hours. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that because some of those could be on the strong side, but behind that system we're going to cool down a little bit and the humidity will drop back down again by the second half of the weekend. All right, 87 tomorrow, 92 on Friday, hot, humid. 88 Saturday, those afternoon and evening thunderstorms and a few leftovers sticking around on Sunday. Dry out Monday and Tuesday. Rain chances back in next Wednesday. Also the 90s return, but all in all, still not that bad for the first week of July.
Yeah, highs in the 80s, mid 80s, low 80s.
Yeah.
We'll take it in July.
Pretty good.
Tropical storm Elsa did dump heavy rain, brought damaging winds, storm surge to Florida's Gulf Coast and parts of Georgia. Now, Doug told us it has weakened some, but tonight there are concerns Elsa could gain strength as the storm heads northeast. Reporter Mia Villarreal is tracking Elsa from St. Simon's Island off the Georgia coast.
Elsa lashed Florida's Gulf Coast after making landfall Wednesday morning with pounding rain and sustained winds of 65 miles an hour near Tallahassee. The storm's trail of destruction knocked out power for tens of thousands. A tree fell on this home in Clearwater, and Jacksonville officials confirmed the first death after a tree fell on 2 cars. The city remained on alert for tornadoes after one touched down nearby.
This is dangerous. This is force. Mother Nature's, taking effect.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis warned residents to stay cautious even after Elsa has passed.
Just be very careful as you're clearing the debris. We have people that fall off the roofs when they're trying to work on this and pass away that way.
While some kept going on, others played it safe.
I think everybody took this very serious after the last storm Ada.
Here on St. Simon's Island, Georgia, it has been like this all afternoon. The wind gusts have been extremely heavy. The rain is piercing right now, and officials are warning to expect this kind of weather throughout the night. And earlier, an act of heroism off Key West, Florida. The Coast Guard and a Good Samaritan rescued 13 people during the storm after a vessel traveling from Cuba capsized. Mireya Villarreal, CBS News, St. Simon's Island, Georgia.
9 people are still missing from that capsized boat. Coming up in sports, Pittsburgh hosts a free summer wrestling clinic with eyes on a successful winter season. Also, the Joplin Outlaws face Sedalia in their final game before hitting the road to the All-Star game. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Doug Hetty has earned the end.
The Joplin Outlaws are back on top of the Mink League South Division standings. Joplin is 11-10, one game ahead of Jefferson City for the top spot in the South. Now, the Outlaws at home tonight for the final time before the All-Star break, facing Sedalia. And down by 1 in the third, All-Star Drake Angeron hits it to short. His speed gets him to first safely. Brandon Ulmer advances to third. Then, good at bat here for Brett Weimers. Pays off big time. Sends it past the 320 mark. 3-run jack for the Pittsburgh product. Outlaws on top. And next inning, Ulmer, his second hit of the night. This one deep to right. RBI triple. Cade Lott scores from first. Joplin leads 4-1. Then Angeron up the line for the double. Another run scores for the Outlaws. They would actually go up 5-2, but the Bombers score the final 7 to win it 9-5. Now, after tonight's game, the Outlaws turn their attention to the Mink League All-Star Game. Joplin has 5 players on the All-Star Game roster. Jack O'Brien, Justin Schrader, and Christian DeJesus made the All-Star team as pitchers. Logan Klein makes it on the infield, while Drake Angeron will represent the Outlaws in the outfield.
Schrader's electric, and DeJesus leads our team in strikeouts. He doesn't walk anybody. He's been one of our best pitchers all year. Same with Jack O'Brien. All 3 of them have been huge on the mound for us, and they deserve the nod. And then Logan Klein's been probably our most consistent hitter all year long. He's been the rock of our lineup since the beginning, and so he definitely deserved it. And Drake had a good first half, he kind of went streaky a little bit, especially here lately, but, for that first half, defensively and offensively, he was really good.
The 2021 Mink League All-Star Game is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in Jefferson City. Moving on out to the majors, the Kansas City Royals have split the first 2 games of their series with the Cincinnati Reds. Last night they scored 4 in the bottom of the 9th to win Game 2 in walk-off fashion 7-6. Now today, KC tries to take the series from Cincy in Game 3. Michael Taylor in the 4th singles to the gap. The Royals take a 2-0 lead, but after that, it was all Cincinnati. In the 7th, 2-1 Kansas City. Jonathan India goes down the line. 2 will score on that. Cincinnati gets its first lead of the day. They would add a couple more after that. Reds take the game and the series 5-2. In the National League, the Cards trying for the 3-game sweep against the Giants tonight. That one's in the bottom of the 5th. Giants lead the Cards right now 2-1. Pittsburgh High School hosts a free wrestling clinic this week. The camp is for any kid in the district, 1st through 12th grade, interested in wrestling for the Pittsburgh Wrestling Club, middle school team, or high school team. The Pittsburgh head coach L.C. Davis is the one putting the clinic on. So far this week, he says he's had about 20 kids in the 1st through 6th grade session and 30 between 7th and 12th grade. Now, the goal is to get the high schoolers some summer work in preparation for the winter and get the younger kids introduced to the sport at an early age.
I kind of use it as a way to introduce the sport to new wrestlers, and it's a way for our older wrestlers to kind of get back on the mat and give back to the younger wrestlers.
I started wrestling when I was 4 or 5-ish, and I've been wrestling for about 5 years. Everybody, gets to get better and gets to practice because there's a few new faces that haven't wrestled before, and they get to get better at the sport.
Our younger numbers are growing pretty rapidly, and our girls program is growing very fast as well. We need more more wrestlers, more attention to this sport in our high school.
Now, tonight is the final night of the clinic for the younger kids. The 7th through 12th grade clinic ends tomorrow night. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time to honor a local veteran, Petty Officer James Marsh. The Farlington, Kansas native served in the U.S. Navy. And we are proud to salute Petty Officer James Marsh. He's tonight's 4-state hero. All right, let's take a final look at our KOAM News Now Instant Poll question. We told you earlier that starting in September, Mercy Hospital is going to require its employees to be vaccinated. How do you feel about hospitals mandating COVID-19 vaccines for their employees? These are the final numbers. They really haven't changed much since we first introduced this poll at 6 o'clock. It's fine, 55%. I don't like it, 45%. The poll is now closed. Thank you for participating. Some chances for rain ahead.
Yeah, a few more isolated little guys for us over the next couple hours. Tomorrow looks good. Humidity a little lower. Back to the heat by Friday.
Final sports notes.
Tampa Bay Lightning are Stanley Cup champions for the second year in a row. They finish it off tonight to claim the championship.
Thanks, guys, and thank you for joining us. Don't forget our morning show, and let's make it a great tomorrow.
Salon service is provided